I was recording. I was just basically a studio player, and a good friend of mine that I played in bands with worked as a studio guitar player and producer at a studio called the Power Station in New York, and that was owned or co-owned by John's second cousin, Tony Bon Jovi.
Okay.
And John was working there, sweeping up, doing odd jobs, and then he would get to go in at off hours to record his demos.
Mm-hmm.
And I was called to play bass on a demo that he was doing called Runaway, which they called in guys that were at other studios, other rooms in the studio. A singer named John Waite was doing his first solo record, so they got his drummer and his guitar player, and Springsteen was in another studio there. And so Roy Bittan came from, so that was the band to do Runaway. Myself, Roy, a drummer named Frankie LaRocca, and a guitar player named Timmy Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that was how the relationship started. No, I was lucky. No, I before I was into it, I mean, I worked as a waiter and for a very short period of time, a banquet waiter, and but that didn't last very long because I wasn't really good at it. Couldn't balance those trays. And when I spilled a tray full of drinks on a woman, that basically killed that. She didn't have a sense of humor about it. So no, I've been extremely lucky. Any of the classic stuff that, well, depending on age, that people listen to, most of the really classic stuff was recorded by a bunch of guys and sitting in a room without a click track, without auto-tune, without Pro Tools, being able to put every note where it should be. You know, some of the greatest stuff ever is a little at a time and a little at a tune, and that's part of music too. Beatles, Stones. I did, after being involved with the Bon Jovi stuff, I did a couple Alice Cooper records, and I got to know Alice, and it was great. He's a sweetheart. And that was because the first one was his sort of comeback record called Poison. I think it was Poison. Poison was the hit off of it. I'm not sure if that was the name of the album or not. But the guy that produced it is a guy named Desmond Child, and he co-wrote a lot of the Bon Jovi hits. So through the Bon Jovi thing, I got that. And then the next album was produced by another producer who had done Queensryche, and I ended up doing that album because Alice wanted me to do it again. But then I got this producer in with John and Richie to do the These Days record. So it all just sort of does this. But I enjoyed that. And before Bon Jovi, a couple of Gladys Knight and the Pips records, I enjoyed that. Cool. A Willie Nelson record, an album, I really enjoyed that. That was before Bon Jovi. So it's kind of a weird Gladys Knight, the Pips, Willie Nelson, Bon Jovi, Alice. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of different stuff. So I enjoy that. Of course, yeah. I saw Jeff Beck play. He played Ronnie Scott's for a week, which is a small jazz club. That there's a DVD out now. But the band was at one of the shows. We were going to London, or we just flown in, and we're on our way from the airport to the hotel, and there was a newspaper, and I was looking at it, and it said that Jeff was going to be playing that week, and it was like, wow, we're going. Yeah. And it was unbelievable. I get goosebumps. I mean, there's not much stuff that gets me excited anymore, but that did.
Yeah, Jeff Beck's pretty awesome. I love his song. It's called Nadia, I think, where he recorded the vocal line from an Indian.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so cool. Blackbird, where he does the bird noises.
Nobody nobody sounds like him. Everybody, it seems like every other guitar player, people can approach their style or cop it or however you want to put it, but I've yet to hear anybody sound like him at all. And he played the entire show, bending the shit out of the show. I mean, just he beats the guitar. Never had to tune once, never broke a string, never switched guitars. I mean, you know, guitarists these days, every other song they're switching guitars, or every song. Played the same one the whole night.
Yeah.
It was refreshing. Oh yeah, but nothing particularly new. Beatles, Steely Dan, which Kelly, she it's not her cup of tea.
Yeah.
And she loves Barry Manilow, and I love Steely Dan, and never the two shall meet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the newest band, and they're not even new anymore because they've had their ups and downs, is Train.
Okay.
I love them.
Okay.
And, you know, the Stones, and mostly all, you know, classic rock type stuff, because I'm old. I'm really this way. I mean, I have 1 million songs on my Mac, but I only listen to the same, you know, handful of things. And I don't listen that much. I don't listen as much as I should, even to that. You know, I'll bring speakers out on the road and set them up in the room and everything else, and then I basically don't sit there and listen.
Yeah.
You know, on the plane or whatever. Yeah, I'll put the headphones in and listen to things. But I'm scattered, and I miss the days of albums, as the album was the art form, not the song. So I'll sit and listen through Beatle albums or you know, Stones or Pink Floyd or Jesus.